Hey, all you time travelers. It's Larry Saperstein, joined today by my lovely co-host and partner in life, Jacob Bellotti. How are you doing?
I am great, especially because we have such an amazing guest today.
Such an amazing guest today.
I am a little giddy.
Yes.
We just filmed the interview, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So
and he's so sweet.
So welcome to
Let's Talk About That.
All systems are a go.
Talking database activated.
Begin in 3, 2, 1.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what? Let's talk about who? Let's talk about me. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about that.
Girl, I cannot believe we are talking about that.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Let's talk about that.
We really do have a great guest today. A true legend. You have definitely watched him on your TV screens. But before we get into that, let's talk about us.
Let's talk about us. We went to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, to the LA premiere.
Yes, of the Harry Potter play, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
At the Pantages Theater.
Yes.
In Hollywood, California.
Yes.
I'm trying to make it sound glitzy.
It was glitzy, very glitzy.
It was very glitzy. There were a lot of stars in attendance.
Hello, Ginny Weasley.
Oh my fucking God. Ginny Weasley, the actress who played Ginny Weasley in
I don't
the
know
movies,
her actual name.
Molly something.
Okay,
I'm so sorry for this.
She's Ginny Weasley.
She's Ginny Weasley. She was sitting like 4 rows in front of
Yes.
us. I lived.
Yes.
Okay. I was gagged. She looked exactly the same.
She looked snatched. Honey.
She was snatched.
So good.
Well, that Harry Potter money, heavy.
Yeah. It keeps you snatched. Surprised that she lives in LA.
Yeah, I know.
I always picture with that franchise that all those actors just live in England.
Some of them do, but a lot of them were here, and also a lot of them are dead.
Yeah, a lot of them are dead now, so they live in another plane.
Yes. But I had so much fun. There were a lot of stars there. Ariana Madix was there.
Yeah.
Parvati from The Traitors was there.
They really got the
Lonnie Love.
Oh, yeah.
Lonnie Love was there.
Do you think because no, that doesn't make sense either. I was gonna say, do you think because it's Universal, but it's not Universal? It's a Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
property.
it's Warner Brothers, and
who knows who owns the play?
Our friends of the pod, Rainey and Rico Rodriguez were there.
Friends of the pod, just people that we like.
Yeah, but we had such a great time. That play was so good.
It was really good.
I was loving it.
Yeah,
every
it was
second.
really cool.
There were so many great effects going on.
Yeah.
And also the story I loved. And this, okay, spoiler alert, cover your ears for the next
Spoiler alert.
10 seconds if you don't know this. But the fact that it's overtly gay, it is a gay love story between the two main characters, bitch.
Yeah. And like that they're both the children of main characters from Harry Potter. Like,
bitch, I lived that it was gay.
Yeah.
And I know they did that as a fuck you to J.K. Rowling because they added that into the show when they cut it down from 2 shows to 1.
Yes. Or they made it more overt. Yeah.
Right. I lived for that. I did not know that going in. We didn't really know that much about it.
I didn't really know that either. Yeah. It was great though.
It was so good.
And that's the thing. It's like I've only ever heard about the show like, oh, amazing effects. And there were amazing effects. There were so many cool magic tricks, but the story was also amazing.
Yeah,
it was a cool continuation of the Harry Potter story, like in a way that didn't feel incredibly forced.
Right. There were aspects that definitely were a little like, okay, girl, we get it. We're referencing the movie.
Right. I mean, they had like every character from the movie.
Everybody was in it. But I agree with you that it was like kind of a fresh new take and a really fun way to revisit the old movies.
Right.
Particularly, they focus on the fourth book / movie, The Goblet of Fire.
Yes.
And the
Time Turner is a big thing, which
in the third one, Prisoner of Azkaban.
Right.
Yes.
And obviously the last movie. Like, there's a lot of moments that reference, like, the end.
Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah. So if you are in Los Angeles, no need to hurry.
No, it's here for 4 months.
It's here until June.
End of June.
Yeah, so you can catch it at any time. But we had such a fabulous time at this premiere.
And something else that you said about this, which I think is an interesting fact for people who've read all the books, is a lot of the references you said were more in line with the books than they were with the movies, which I thought was interesting.
Because they reference Cedric Diggory in the first task of the Triwizard Tournament, which is facing the dragons. In the movie, they only show Harry's part where he goes against the Hungarian Horntail.
Okay.
But in the book, they talk about what the other champions are doing.
Okay.
And in the book, they mention that Cedric transfigurates a rock into a dog to distract the dragon so he can go around it and collect the golden egg.
Wow.
Which is the task. And that becomes actually a major plot point of this play, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So that was fun that it's like not just based on the movie. It also ties to the book.
It really is connected to the actual story.
The lore.
Which is very cool. Yeah, the lore.
Yeah. So we loved it.
I loved it.
We had a great time. We loved all the little effects they were doing, the magic. It was so fun.
Yeah.
I will be swishing my cape for the next 20 years because of this play. Hetty.
Flick that wand, honey. Flick that wand. All right. Should we get into it?
Yeah, because let's intro it. This interview came about very last minute.
Very last minute, but
it happened at the premiere that we were at this past Wednesday, and this episode comes out Monday.
Yes.
Okay, the following Monday from Wednesday. We ran into this person at the premiere who we had met before at a different wizard-themed event.
Yeah.
And he expressed interest in coming on the pod, and we got him. We got him.
Now, I believe that this actor is one of, if not the most prolific Disney Channel actors in the Disney Channel history.
Yeah.
He's been in a ton of different Disney Channel projects, to the point where if you were watching Disney Channel at the time when we were watching Disney Channel, you have most certainly seen this person. He was in one of the most popular Disney Channel shows, Good Luck Charlie. He was also in one of my favorite Disney Channel shows, Cory in the House. He was also in a slew of Disney Channel movies, Minutemen, Hatching Pete, the Good Luck Charlie Christmas movie, Read It and Weep. Okay, all of these Disney Channel movies.
Shiloh. He was in Shiloh.
Shiloh, but that's not a Disney Channel movie.
Okay.
All of those Disney Channel movies had such a big audience. They were such big hits, and he was in all of them. And he's a really great, nice guy, and kind of our neighbor.
He's kind of our neighbor. And he loves board games, and we're so excited to talk to him all about it and have him at our game night. So please welcome to the pod, Jason Dolley, right after this. Jason!
I'm here!
Oh my goodness!
Thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk About That.
It was such a trek for me to get here.
Yes.
I drove all the way. No, I literally walked here.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you guys sent me the address, and I was like, I think I'm gonna walk to that, and here I am.
And believe it or not, you're actually our second guest to walk
Who's
to
walked
a
here?
podcast
Who
recording.
else?
Julia Lester, who is in High School Musical the series with me,
fabulous.
lives only a block down the street.
We might be neighbors.
Yeah,
we
were
probably
just about.
are. Yeah.
And when we had her on, she walked right over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anytime Julia comes over, it's like we're like, hey, you want to go swimming? She's here in 2 minutes. Like,
Any excuse to walk, I'm taking it. I walk to the gym. I walk to the grocery store. It was part of the reason why I moved to this area. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like you just walk everywhere. It's great.
But obviously, we're filming in a gated studio.
Yes,
in Van
on a
Nuys.
Of course,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
You wouldn't know driving past,
Right.
but when you get in here, like, oh yeah, I
Yes,
got it.
exactly.
Oh, this is where they film.
Yes. This is where
They film the thing. Yeah. Okay.
Well, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, it's a weird time to be an actor in Los Angeles. It's a
Yes.
weird time to be in the entertainment industry in
Yes.
Los Angeles. But stuff happens, and you roll with it. If you're in for the long haul, you're in for the long haul. Nothing's gonna really shake you. So that's me. So yeah, it's been unusual and scary and all over the place, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm here,
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot. Like,
We do.
It's a longevity game, and like the more you can just not give up when things, slow down, because they always do, for every single actor on the history of the planet.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless you're like Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Well, it'll slow down for him at some point, or he put in years before, and that's you don't see the years that come before,
Right.
But like Jason Bateman, for instance, was a huge child star, and then went 10 years without almost anything, and got Arrested Development, and is now Jason Bateman again.
Right.
So that's kind of how I see my career trajectory going.
I love that.
Because I
child star.
Yeah, well, I started when I was 11, and I worked basically nonstop to the time I was about 22, 23.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, it's a different landscape. I'm not working. I don't have another Disney show to go do. It's like, what's going to happen? And so it feels like the universe kind of balancing out the fact that I started when I was 11, and I got work immediately, which is not how it works for most people.
Sure.
And I'm sort of understanding that 1 year at a time.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sort of putting in the time retroactively. So it's fine. It's all balancing out. It's good.
Well, we'll get into all of that, all of your child acting roles, because we all watched you over and over again as we were growing up, and it's so exciting that you're here. But let's talk about some of the things that you have going on now.
Yeah. So in the spirit of us doing basically no research on any of our guests, we did look at your Instagram, and saw that you're doing Twitch right now. Can you explain Twitch to me? I don't really understand it.
Yeah, it's sort of like, it depends on what people are doing, but it's sort of like a way to connect with people right now. You watch people do anything from a podcast to playing Fortnite, playing video games.
So it's not just for gamers.
No, it's not. No,
I didn't realize that.
I would say I think it kind of started out that way, and it was sort of a place to live stream while you're playing a video game. But there are people that stream, a DJ set on Twitch. They'll play. There's a guy, Seth Drums, who just plays drums.
Oh my
takes
goodness.
requests and stuff.
I didn't
just
know this.
Sitting in front of a drum kit, right, and playing live.
We gotta get on
so
Twitch.
It's live entertainment of all kinds, shapes, and sizes, varieties, basically at any point throughout the day.
Wait,
there could be something crazy happening.
This might be a dumb question. What makes it different than YouTube in that? Because doesn't YouTube, you can
you mean being live?
Yeah.
It's sort of the same thing, different platform.
Okay.
Twitch, I don't know if it was the first one, but to me it's kind of like the heavy hitter of the live streaming platforms.
cool. Yeah.
Because there was, Microsoft had their own version called Mixer for a while.
Okay.
And then YouTube live streaming it certainly came after Twitch, I believe. This is all researchable information that I could be completely butchering. But my understanding was
we could have looked up.
Twitch was the big one, and then others kind of followed suit. So yeah, it's like live entertainment all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's always somebody doing something.
Wow. And so you play chess.
I play chess now. Yeah, I actually started streaming with Bradley Stephen Perry. We kind of got into it together, just because we play video games, and we're like, I'm sitting here playing video games anyway, and people stream it online and people watch it. Like, why not do that? So we would play. We played Fortnite and Warzone and all this stuff. I was never great at any of that. And then I found a game that I was actually very good at called Fall Guys.
Oh, I remember Fall Guys.
Yes. So I was briefly like a professional Fall Guys player. Like I was like one of the people that whenever there was a tournament happening, I was being invited or I was on somebody's team or whatever.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I won a handful of tournaments and played in a lot, and like I was when Fall Guys was sort of at its peak, I was up there in like maybe the top 25 people that were sort of playing the game.
Oh my god!
This is
So weird, so random, but
this
yeah.
is
because Jacob
no.
is this is a really fun connection here. Jacob is one of the top Subway surfers in the entire world. You know the mobile game Subway Surfers? It's like
it's
one
not,
of those,
not related to the sandwich shop, I presume, or is it?
No. It's like
Okay.
It's like one of those endless runner. Do you remember like Temple
Run or
It's kind of
Flappy
like Temple
Bird?
Run.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I happen to be ranked number 1 in the United States on this mobile game.
But it's similar
God,
kind of
that's
game, right?
awesome.
Because you're running on a thing and you have to dodge obstacles.
You're dodging obstacles
and
and you're trying to be the last one standing after, it's like a battle royale, but
Yes.
but like a battle royale sort of inspired by games like Wipeout. Did you ever watch Wipeout?
Yes,
It's ridiculous
yes.
obstacles and beans flying. You're a little bean guy and you get like knocked over. It's very comical, but I took it very seriously.
Yes.
Which was delightful.
I played Fall Guys for a little bit with my friend Zachary, and I found it to be the most frustrating thing I have ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Like if there's like I know there are people that like get really angry at video games and you see videos of them like throwing the controllers. Like that is how that game made me feel. Because that you could do everything right and just
fall.
And it also seems like it should be so easy to just jump over a thing or like move your guy through.
Right.
And it's not. And also like other people can screw you over, like grab you at the right time to make you fall over or whatever. There's lots of like, tactics like that when you get at the level I was playing at, you had to be watching for that and aware of like, okay, if you're playing in a tournament, there was some people would be like in the central servers or like East Coast servers.
Yeah.
So depending on who was host, it like meant that your lag was a little bit higher or a little bit lower. So you had to
That
like
is
factor
so
that into your
frustrating.
timing of when you would jump and when you would move around. That's when you're dealing with it like high level Fall Guys.
That is so
my
frustrating.
and it was
Wow.
it was intense. It was intense.
after this we gotta play some Fall Guys.
I miss it now.
I have to see the Maestro, the Maestro
It's
in
been a long
action here.
time. I don't even know what the game is like these days. I haven't played it in forever. But
Now I see why you're playing chess, though.
Yeah.
You need that relaxing.
so Fall Guys kind of had its big heyday, and then it sort of nobody was really playing it anymore. People kind of went back to what they were doing originally, and then I've been doing it for a few years, and I wasn't sure if I was really enjoying it anymore, and I wasn't really sure if it was something I wanted to be doing. So I took a little break, and I thought, well, I can come back and just like I was already getting into chess separately.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, it's something I can do from my apartment, and I can do it as much as I want. Let me do it. And so I started, and I'm on a pause right now because I found myself really becoming overtaken by the what's the word? Sort of the results orientation of streaming and of playing chess. Like I found myself so worried about how many people were watching or how many subscribers I was getting or how I was playing. Like, was I winning most of the games? Was I making good moves? And that's just the wrong thing to focus on across the board. Like, you can't focus on playing well. You just have to sort of have fun and trust that you're going to do well or you're not, and that's all that matters. And you can't focus on, how many people are watching, how well am I doing? You got to just be having fun. So I'm in a weird spot with it right now where I don't know what a like healthy version of streaming for me actually looks like.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of figuring that out right now. But I love chess, and I love the chess community online. It's very vibrant. There's a lot of people in it, and they're very welcoming and very cool. And I'm also sort of discovering chess meetups around Los Angeles. There's
That's
more
amazing.
things happening
So cool.
around that I knew about. There's a place in North Hollywood every Tuesday night.
The
Bruce
board
Brothers.
game bar.
Is it the
Is that where
Bruce
we went?
Brothers? Is that what you're talking about?
I think that's where we went.
Next to
We
Player
went
One.
there.
Yeah. So every Tuesday night they just have a whole section with just boards and people come and play.
my
and
goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like, this is great. And so the whole like chess endeavor and all that has been really good. It's been going really well. The streaming part's the only kind of tricky thing for me to manage sort of mental health wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's a great way to. There's lots of tournaments that happen online. You can just stream those and play with people. It's really cool, and it's really good for the game, I think. Also,
that is so fun thinking about like. Los Angeles just has every community imaginable.
Yeah. You can find a chess community.
Of course there's a chess community. Like that's actually feels like one of the bigger ones, like, in terms of niches. But like that is just so amazing that you can cool. Find things like that.
It was harder for me to find than I expected. Like I looked around for places and I couldn't find them. But eventually found them. But there tends to be sort of smaller pockets throughout parts of the city. Like there's one in Culver City, there's one in North Hollywood, there's one in Highland Park.
Yeah.
But I was in St. Louis recently, and they have like a big chess scene there. They have like a proper. The World Chess Hall of Fame is in St. Louis.
That's so cool.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And across the street is the St. Louis Chess Club, where they have tournaments and stuff all the time. Actually, I was there in December because my fiance is from there, so we were visiting her family for the holidays, and I played in a tournament there, and I show up and like there's 4 or 5 grandmasters that I knew who I would have watched play in tournaments or watched play on Twitch or whatever. Wow. And one of them was the world number 2, whose name is Fabian Caruana. He was just at the tournament in St. Louis.
That was
just because
about to go play in the World Rapid and Blitz Championship like 2 weeks later in New York.
Wow.
But he was there the same time I was, just like warming up, and I was like in person with him, watching him play. I was like, that's like the coolest thing.
Fighting.
Oh my god,
that's so cool.
The coolest thing. I didn't say hi to any of them. I like was
too nervous
because nobody else was like fangirling about them or whatever. So I was like, I don't want to be the one guy that like was like, hi, nice to meet you. So I want to be like, oh yeah, this is super normal. I'm used to seeing.
We're the same way.
Guys.
I mean, it's like you could see Madonna on the street and have like no reaction, but then a celebrity or someone that does something that you care about so much, you're like.
We have such oddly specific people like that. Like, I've worked, I was a producer on Drag Race, and I worked with tons of celebrities and big people, and like never bat an eye. But like, if I meet Stockard Channing on the street, like something like that niche and specific, I'm like, oh my god, like fangirling, which I think it's so funny, like with like how you get attached to niches like that. But I want to know if you're a board game guy.
Oh yeah,
beyond. Oh yeah.
Literally last night I was playing a game called Mansions of Madness.
Oh okay.
Which is like you start off and you don't really know what's happening, but there's some evil force at play. It's sort of Lovecraftian, Cthulhu-esque. And so last night we were playing one where you start on a train and people just keep disappearing, and the whole thing is you like eventually discover that there's a portal behind the train that's like eating the train one car at a time.
Oh my god!
So you have to like get up to the front of the train and like make it go fast enough, and like you can pull the pin from the cars behind it if there's monsters back there to like send them into the thing. And so it's not quite as complex as D&D, but it has sort of those
where
flavors.
It can be a different scenario every time.
Yeah, well it comes like the base game comes with 4 or 5 scenarios, but there's like tons of expansions and stuff.
Wow,
I have
cool.
I like built a like wooden storage container for all of the like pieces and map tiles and stuff, because they come in the boxes, but then if you're going to be using them all together, it's such a pain to like pull this thing out of this box. So I bought one of these like massive storage things, and so that's what I was working. And I was just, you can play so you use an app on iPad to like sort of have the monsters do all their stuff on there, and all the stuff happens on the iPad. But I was literally just sort of like DMing essentially, and like organizing all of like doing all the housekeeping stuff, which I actually had a lot of fun doing. I wasn't like playing, but I felt like I was still invested. So the answer is yes. I am a big board game guy. I have a game table in our like extra bedroom. That's just for games.
We're just getting into it now.
Okay,
we started to have a game night, a weekly game night.
You should come.
Okay.
You're invited. You're cordially invited. And we've been playing Ticket to Ride, that's like
of course,
the big one.
Oh yeah.
And then there's also one we really like called Cryptid.
Do you know Cryptid?
I've heard of this.
Yes,
Cryptid?
It's really fun, like logic thinking puzzle, like you're trying to find the buried treasure kind of before anyone else, using like everyone's different like logic clues. It's really cool.
It's very cool because there's like almost infinite scenarios. So there's 6 board pieces like that make up the board, and each scenario you put them in a different order.
And they can also go upside down. They
Right.
can go this way or this way, like, and also just all different configurations. So you make a completely unique map every single time.
Oh, that's great.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone gets different books with a different clue, and it's like you're trying to figure out what each person has, and it's like it's
your
it's kinda
information is
complex.
private to you,
Right.
But then okay,
And basically,
other people
like,
try and figure it
everyone-
out based on
Based
the
on what
moves
you're
you
doing.
make.
Yes, you're trying to
really
figure out
cool.
the other people's clues.
love that.
Yeah.
We love cryptid.
Yeah.
Look at a little bit of poker to it, where you're like, what are based on what you're doing, what do I think you're actually doing? That's
Right,
awesome.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you
right.
try
I
and
love
put them
that.
in intentionally deceiving spots on
Yeah,
the
or
map.
sometimes you try to like throw people off. The set.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
It's like
great.
that. It's really fun.
But that game sounds super cool. I've it's really exciting to like see all the different. There's so many different kinds of
So
board games,
many.
and
Oh my God.
it's like a huge world. So we're just getting into it now.
Yeah, there's a store at the Sherman Oaks Galleria.
Or the Sherman Oaks Fashion Square,
Fashion
the,
Square.
the regular mall.
Westfield one on
the Westfield
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Called Mind Games.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
And they
been
sometimes
going
have
there a
some
lot.
cool stuff. They sometimes
yeah.
have you'll go in and they'll have like a cool board game that
Like
you
yeah.
random and not expected.
And there's one I forget where they moved to, but it was called Geeky Teas.
Okay.
And they were a shop that had tons of board games and also tons of tea. You could just buy like loose
That's
leaf
cool.
tea there, and also any board game you could think of.
I
And they
love
were
that.
in Burbank. I want to say on Magnolia, but I think they moved, and I don't know where they moved to. But
Okay,
they also
we'll
had
have to
like
look it up.
rooms you could book out to like
play.
play board games,
we're
or they
gonna
had
have
like
to look.
they
We're gonna
tables
have
in
to.
the back that you could just buy a game and be like, all right, let's go play this right now.
Well, you found our next
so
date
cool.
night
Yeah,
over
right.
here.
Oh, yeah. We got to find where it is, but yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, so I think people will be mad if we don't talk about a few things. You just wrote and starred in a new short film, correct?
I did, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so I wrote. It's called The Unicorn That Never Lies. It's on YouTube right now. It's on Chandler Riggs' YouTube page right now. If you Google it, you'll be able to find it. I wrote that maybe 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Initially, not even for me to be in, but I wrote it as like a writing exercise because the whole thing is it's a first date. And she's talking to the guy, and the guy keeps like talking to somebody over his shoulder, and there's nobody there. So I was exploring like a conversation between two people where there's a third character that's
Yeah.
unseen, but who's like their behavior is relayed to us through the perspective of one of the characters. And so it kind of turned into this. I wrote it. I had my friends put it up, and then I added some more to it and refined it, and then I sat on it for I don't know, like 5 years or something like that, until I got to know Chandler Riggs from the acting institute that we go to, and he was trying to be a director, and his buddy Xavier was like, we want stuff to shoot, so if you have anything that you want, that you're trying to get made or whatever, send it to us and we'll maybe see if we're interested. And I was like, I have this old script from, however long ago, and they read it and like, this is perfect. It's really cheap to make. It was an easy sell. It was 2 actors in 1 location.
Yeah.
It's basically like a small 1-act play. And I was like, well, if you're gonna shoot it, and Mia, my girlfriend and fiance, is gonna be in it, I'm like, all right, I would feel left out if I didn't play the other role, and so we, the 6 of us, some people from the institute, William and Jennifer, who like run and founded the acting institute we go to, and then Chandler and Xavier and Mia and I all produced it together, and I had never produced anything before, and I don't know how you people do it, but it's not something that I would ever choose to do unless I had to, and this was one of those situations where like I feel like I have to because I want this to get made and I want it to get made well, but goodness, it's just
It's a job that can be a lot of things.
Yeah. When there's a creative kind of reward to it at the end, where you're like, this is worth it because the thing is good, it's doable. But I have to imagine on something where you're like, this is just a paycheck or whatever, it just must be soul-sucking in a lot of ways.
Yeah, there's there's been a couple of those, I would say, in my career, but for the most part, I've done things that were like passion projects. Because my whole thing was always, I wanted to come to LA to do queer media. That was my thing. And then I ended up being a producer on RuPaul's Drag Race, which is
so mission accomplished.
28 Emmys, you know, like all that.
Right.
I was like, okay, great. You know, like I did it. You know, I've done the thing, and so that was like passion. But yes, there were a few projects that were just a paycheck, and I was just like, oh my God, if I have to hear the name of this show one more time, like I am going to lose it. So I totally get that. But I respect that now you've tried that, you've done that.
Yeah, and it was very, very small scale by comparison, you know, to something like RuPaul's.
Sure.
But still, it was my first time doing it. And you realize, you know, you're on set and you're like, okay, if somebody has a problem or a question, I'm the one that they'll come to. I'm the one that's going to have to deal with it. Who's going to have lunch there? Oh, I'm going to need to get lunch. Or somebody, one of us is going to need to get, like, oh, right.
Yes.
All of those details that you don't even think about as an actor. You just come and show up and you're like, oh, great, this is all handled.
Right.
Like, I'm the guy that's handling it now.
And I think the other thing that we as actors don't see until we start to do producing projects like that is like, this is how things get made. Like, as an actor, you're auditioning and you show up and everything's already in place. But like, the reality is producers and directors, like, they cultivate their community, they cultivate their team, they know who they like to work with. And so when an idea comes up, it's like, well, I want, you know, this person to direct, I want this person to be the cinematographer, like, because of who they like to work with. So it's really amazing that you're cultivating that team and that group of collaborators, because that's how things happen, but we just don't see it as actors as often. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so easy to sort of come in, audition for something, book it, and then be there, and then you're surrounded by all these usually fantastic people who are all, you know, working in such synchronization with each other. And you're like, this is amazing to just watch. It's like, no, it doesn't just happen.
Right.
That's years and years of working together and refining your sort of collective language.
Yeah.
And it's movie making and all this stuff we do. It's so special. It really is so cool, man.
It's an industry unlike any other.
It really
I will tell you that.
Yeah, and it was. I think it's a really good thing to do, to start something from script to all the way through, you know, post production and everything, having it be done and having sort of a hand in the whole process. I think was illuminating and very good for me. And I'm very, very proud of how it turned out, both from as a writer, as an actor, as a producer. I'm like, this is what I hoped to make, and it's cool. It's very special to me.
Yeah. Well, check that out on YouTube.
Yeah, the unicorn that never lies. Yeah. Oh, how about that? Oh, that's a nice tie.
How about that?
Yeah.
All right, more with Jason Dolley right after this.
And we're back.
Here we are.
What a break that was. So we have to talk about your Disney career, because you are a storied legend icon star of Disney.
A prolific Disney actor. I was thinking about this, and I think you are probably one of the only Disney actors, to have done 2 like mainstream Disney Channel shows back to back as main cast.
I might. I don't know about the only, but I'm
only,
one of the few, if not the only. Yeah, because Sweet Life that did 2 shows, but one was a spinoff. So it's like that's not. Those are these are completely separate.
Right.
Totally unique.
Because it was Cory in the House, and then how many years was it between the end of Cory in the House and the start of Good Luck Charlie, or was it right away?
No, it was like a year and a half or so, something like that. Because Cory went down around 2008 because that writer's strike kind of got in our way a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And so then we had to, and then there was a minute where I was like kind of in an overall thing with Disney. It was like, we're going to find somewhere to put you. And then it wound up being Good Luck Charlie. But that was a year, maybe 2 after. So I think I was 17 when we shot the pilot. Maybe it was only a year then, because I was 17 when we shot the pilot. And then I think I was maybe 16 for season 2 of Cory. So maybe it was only Honestly, looking back,
it's all a blur.
Time and how long was it between? I turns out I had no clue.
Simultaneous.
Yeah, it all just slid one into the other, and it was all a big blur. Yeah, I guess.
Okay, controversial question. Did you like one more than the other?
Well, we did 100 episodes of Good Luck Charlie.
That's true.
And we
ran a
did
bit longer.
30-ish of Cory. So yeah, I mean, you go for a show that long, and a few things happen. One is just you feel so connected to the people you're working with. And also the character you're playing. I mean, PJ started kind of in a similar vein to Newt from Cory in the House, where he was kind of just the goofy, dopey older brother character, and over time became more like the kind of a puppy dog on and sort of the moral compass of the show. Somebody who like was very pure, and that was absolutely a collaboration between myself and the writers, and we sort of found ourselves going in that direction. So that that kind of thing happening. It's hard. It's a little apples to oranges, Good Luck Charlie over Cory in the House is like, it was just a completely different experience. But I'm also, I saw Jake Thomas, who was the stickler, I think, the CIA guy on Cory in the House.
Yeah.
We're still very good friends. He's one of my neighbors, actually. That's one of the reasons I moved to the area I live in is because he's there. And so I saw him and his partner for a birthday party like last week. So I still see them. Still see people from both shows frequently. So.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Cory and Good Luck Charlie was a little past my like age group. I still watched it, but like my prime was Cory in the House. That was when I was really watching, and I just remember loving that show and thinking it was so fun because I also loved That's So Raven. So it was like fun to see that spin-off, and it was like it was at a time when we enjoyed seeing things happening in the White House. And I was like, it was. Just, I remember it just being this like fun fantasy world, and you were always so funny and doofy and like my favorite character.
Thank you.
Where did you guys film?
My memory serves me correctly. We shot at Hollywood Center.
Hollywood Center. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. It's interesting because we had Jason Earls on. A few weeks ago. And
that whole thing about the Jacksons had a puppet or something.
Yes.
Unbelievable. I was watching that clip like, what?
You
That's
never
crazy.
know how these shows change. Did you do the Disney Channel games too?
I did 2 years of them. Yeah.
So you did them with Jason Earls.
I did. Yeah. Jason Earls and I had what I would describe as a legendary match of Simon Says. I think it was the second year of DC Games, and he and I were locked in a head-to-head match of Simon Says that Brian Stepanek was Simon, and we went for, I mean, probably just the two of us for like 4 or 5 minutes. Just nonstop, like, I mean, it felt like a long time when I was in it. It probably was, it was less than that, really, but...
it was 23 seconds.
Do you
remember who won?
No, Jason won. But I also at the time was sort of like, Brian sort of called me out for moving, and I was like, I don't think I moved. But the reality was, it had to end at some point. Yeah. So you have to find some way to end it. So it's like, I was bitter about it for a little while, and I've totally moved on from that.
Right.
Obviously.
Right. Yes. Jason Earls was very competitive about that. He was telling us how competitive he was about it.
Well, and the first
year,
feel? The first year we went, it was really, really fun. I mean, they flew us out to Disney World, and we were on this big, baseball field and playing all these, recess type games, tug of war and all that. We would play like 5 or 6 games a day, I think, and then we'd be done at 4, and we go into the parks for like a few hours.
God.
That's so fun.
And then we go back home and we do it all again for like a week. It was awesome. And then the second year they brought us back, they pivoted the show to more like a Survivor, like more of a reality show.
Okay.
And so we'd play 1 game a day, and the rest of the time would be spent like behind the scenes, like in our tents, like how are we preparing for the game, and like what's the drama, what's the rivalry between you and the other teams. And it was like, what are we doing? And it would take all day
on Disney Channel.
Yeah, we were done at like 7 or 8.
Yeah,
and we could go out for a little while, but it was the experience of it was drastically different.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm still gonna say yes, and it was still a wonderful time, but it was such a strange wait, this was so great last year, and this is like a different thing. Like, what are we doing? And then that was last year they did it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I think,
I'm like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
We said this last time. That would be such a great spin-off series on Disney Plus if it was just maybe not the Disney Channel games, but the Disney games or whatever, and even bringing back people that were in shows that have been canceled, and doing doing a whole reminiscing old
Not canceled, ended
right, not
Yeah.
canceled, that's true. Ended naturally at the correct time.
Yeah.
But bringing old versus new or whatever, there's kind of endless possibilities there, and I think it would be a really cool fan engagement kind of show.
Yeah, I have an idea for it. I have a little pitch deck that I've been tinkering with and putting together for a little while. But yeah, sort of like a Battle of the Network Stars kind of thing.
That's so fun.
But with current talent who's people on Disney Plus shows right now,
Yeah.
and also people that were on old Disney Channel shows.
Yeah,
It just
it
seems
would be really cool.
This is a slam dunk. Man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got to talk to you to get this going, but I'm thinking.
I would just love to watch you pelt Josh Colley in the face with a dodgeball.
We love you, Josh Colley.
We do love Josh Colley.
Josh Colley.
That's the reason I said his name. We're friends. Okay, it's okay.
So, out of over 100 episodes, do you walk away from a show like that with a favorite episode or something that you remember to this day as being that was a special moment on that show?
The thing that I always go to when someone asks something like that is I always think of the very, very last episode. The very, very last shot of the very, very last episode was the very, very last shot of the series.
Yeah.
We waited to the very end to shoot that last video diary where we're all saying goodbye and whatever. And it was we got to say goodbye to the show together. And it was you could feel how much it meant to not only everybody sort of on camera at the time, but everybody on the set at that moment. It was. Yeah, it was this is a really cool thing that we got to do, and yeah, it's sad that it's over, but goodness, how grateful are we that this happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, not to bring it down, but
No.
I think it's it's meaningful. I think to me.
Yeah, those moments like that. We had a similar moment at the end of High School Musical, the series. The last thing that we shot was was us as a cast going to the cast party after the show and filming it and making it a party, and they shoot those moments at the they make those the last shots on purpose because it feels special, and yes, it comes through on camera, but it's also great to be that was our last thing, and that is
good for everybody
all together.
Yeah.
And those are the things that you remember.
Yeah, it's lucky to. I mean, it's unfortunate that when something's ending, but it's also lucky that you get to do that, because if you just kind of shot it like any other episode, you sort of end the season, you find out, oh, that was it.
Yeah.
I think it would feel a little more like a robbery, like a betrayal of something.
Yeah.
If you go, oh, this is it. Okay, great. We can actually kind of not have a funeral, but sort of send it off in a way that's meaningful to everybody. It's a lovely opportunity.
And how would anyone become a space entrepreneur if Good Luck Charlie stayed on the air forever?
Well, and then the industry, they tried to keep Bridget here. NBC was like, come on, do Undateable for 2 years, and then Netflix was like, here's the show, come on. She was like, I don't think I'm into this. It was I think I want to go to MIT and study social media dynamics. I have no idea what she studied, and then now is building satellites.
Yeah.
When
or something. I don't know.
She is NASA.
Yeah, right.
Like
yeah.
when I tried to watch a video, I did watch the video where she was explaining like what she was doing.
Yeah.
And it went in one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
And she was explaining it brilliantly.
Right.
Very eloquently.
Yeah.
She knows exactly
incredibly
smart.
What
she's
yeah.
doing.
Oh yeah.
I have no clue. But I think it's great. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. It's funny when we heard that she was first of all that she was like, oh, she's not acting anymore. She's not acting and singing. She's just going to go to MIT. We were all kind of like, that fits.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, she's building satellites. Like, yeah, that's what she would be doing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which
Do y'all have a group chat?
What's that?
Do y'all have like a group chat?
We used to.
Okay.
I'm sure it's still somewhere on our phones. But yeah, it was funny. She texted me out of nowhere. It was the night I got back from the Wizards premiere. She just texted me to say, I think like congratulations on my engagement, which happened last year also, and then that was it.
Well,
I talked to her in a year or so, and then it was like, hey, congratulations. I was like,
That's so sweet.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very nice.
really nice.
And she just sort of described her at that as kind of like a wizard who just sort of shows up when she when she wants to, and then kind of goes off and does her own thing. And you trust that whatever she's doing is exactly what she needs to be doing, and you just are grateful for the time you get with her. You're like, go do amazing things, Bridget.
People can be like that.
Yes.
You know?
Let us be the first to say publicly congratulations on your engagement.
Congratulations. You heard it here first. It was a public announcement.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah. We met you at the Wizards premiere. I think that was the first time we met.
Yeah.
And now we just saw you at the Cursed Child, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child
at the
premiere.
Pantages right now.
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was, dude, it felt like watching a magic show.
It was so cool.
In like such a cool way. Like there were so many moments where I was watching, I was like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
Like the guy who had the cloak and went into the telephone booth, and then suddenly the cloak gets sucked into the. I was like, wait.
Yes.
He was just there. He was in that. How did they do that?
Yeah, it's really
so cool.
A lot of.
We thought that too. We really liked the ripple effect that they did.
I could not get enough of that. I was watching it. I was like, oh, they're using the time turner. Yes, let me see this ripple thing. God, it was so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you're one of the time traveling pioneers. You did a time traveling movie.
Oh my
time
goodness.
traveling Disney Channel movie.
That's right. Yeah.
With Nicholas Braun, who's big Succession actor. That was also like in our prime. The Minutemen loved that one.
Yeah, we were all a little confused and disappointed that we didn't get a sequel to that.
Oh yeah,
we were all like, yeah, let's do something. And I also kind of feel like there could be a really fun version of like, 10, 15 years later.
Yeah.
Sure.
Having to travel back in time and like do stuff in the movie, so like intercut between things that are happening now.
Cool.
Something. I mean, I don't know how that would work. I don't have an idea for that. That's just something I'm riffing right now. But I think a movie about time travel also, in sort of going back in time and looking back and sort of this nostalgia bias that's occurring these days. I think it seems like a no-brainer to me, but what do I know?
How many Disney Channel movies did you do? Quite a few.
4.
That's a 4 is like.
I think Brenda Song and I are tied for the most.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There was Hatching Pete, I remember.
Hatching Pete, Minutemen, Read It and Weep, which was the first one.
Oh, I do remember Read It and Weep.
And then Good Luck Charlie did a decom, so that's 4.
That was always a very cool. I mean, hey, whoever came up with that brilliant kind of marketing idea of like, let's get our stars from the shows and put them in the movies, or let's put someone in a movie and then put them in the show.
Yeah.
Like it was that whole back and forth. It really worked on me as a kid. It was fun to watch.
It was, and being in it, it was sort of like what I imagined being in the old Hollywood studio system was like.
Yeah.
It was sort of like you would do a show, and then they'd be like, hey, go do this movie, and then we'll do another show, and we'll do another movie, and it was like, you don't get that kind of job security anywhere else.
No.
Especially not these days.
And they don't run Disney Plus that way.
No,
either,
they don't. It's all sort of, I mean, as far as I understand it, it's much more divided and kind of this and then this and then this. It's sort of idiosyncratic.
Yes. Well, now you can watch the Kardashians on Disney Plus.
Can you really?
Yes.
Okay.
But no, it is interesting. Like that whole. You're absolutely right. It is like an old Hollywood thing of that that studio crossover, which I think is super fun.
And you filmed a couple of them in Utah, right? Or just
all
one?
four.
All four in Utah.
All 4 DComs were all in Salt Lake City.
That's what I'm saying.
Salty Productions.
Salty
we stayed
Pictures.
in either the Little America or the Grand America, depending on the budget for the movie.
It's such a Disney Channel, because that's where we filmed High School Musical, all in Utah. Well, and that's where the High School Musical movies were filmed, and then that's where we filmed.
That's when you filmed the series also?
The series, because it was all at the school.
Oh, yeah.
Except for season 3 was here because it was the summer camp.
Uh-huh.
But 1, 2, and 4 were, we used the school, and then we had a stage as well that was like additional spaces. But as I've like gone further into the Disney Channel universe, seeing that is such a universal experience, that basically anyone that worked for Disney Channel has been and worked in Salt Lake City, Utah is so amazing to me.
Did you ever have the bread pudding at the Grand America?
No, I never went to the Grand America.
You got to do season 4. You got to go back for the bread pudding at the Grand America.
But
we filmed an episode at the Little America.
We filmed an episode at the Little
podcast.
Yeah.
Because, great. Okay.
Because one of Kate, who played Miss Jen, the teacher, she still lives in Utah. She when we did the show, she moved there and started renting a house. She has a son and a husband, and she was like, yeah, I like it here. I'm just going to stay here. I don't really need to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so she still lives there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny starting on, doing those for years. You would see a lot of the same, not only crew, but actors.
Yeah.
And some actors who would like a background actor on the first one, or like have a speaking part in the next one. They're sort of evolving their craft and growing. It was really cool to get to go back so much and kind of, get plugged back into this very special group of people that are all making DComs and I assume other things, but as far as I could tell, DComs.
Yeah, now I think it's spread out. A lot of them, because I keep in touch with some of them, from High School Musical. Like, there's a lot of commercials that happen there, especially like car commercials. I found out.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of so that because they do all those kind of outdoor
down by like St. George.
Yeah,
all those,
so a lot of them
rock
get
formations.
Yeah,
and
a
stuff.
lot of them get that work as well, and now like a lot of the Lifetime movies and like those Netflix kind of Christmas movies are filmed out there too, because they get like the nice.
Oh yeah, the Lindsay Lohan one.
Yeah, and I think I mean it's such a crazy place for filming where like I'd never been to Salt Lake City ever before going there, and then as soon as I was there, I was like, oh, this makes sense because it's so close to LA, like relatively speaking, but it's very geographically diverse. You have like mountains, you have snow, you have the desert if you need that, and like it feels removed, but it's close enough if you need to get back to LA for like whatever. And so it actually makes perfect sense, but it's so random and weird.
And the idea of having a school that is all indoors isn't a guarantee in Los Angeles, right? That's not a thing.
That's true.
So you want to shoot a school like that, you go to Utah.
Yeah, if only East High didn't get so famous, maybe they would be shooting all different things there as well.
I remember, so we're both from the East Coast. I remember the first time I visited LA, I was staying with a friend who lived in Santa Clarita, and she showed me her old high school, and I was like, what the hell is this? It was like a campus. I was like, what is this? Like building to building to building, like of like hallways that are outdoors. I'm like, this is not my experience as a child.
Did you do all homeschooling or on-set schooling?
No. So I went to regular school through 10th grade. And then, like, halfway through 10th grade, you can test out. You can do the California High School Proficiency Exam. Or the CHESP.
The CHESP,
and then I started college at about 16 and a half, I think.
So you were, like, filming and then going to regular public school?
Mm-hmm. For a little while, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to a private school, so they were a little more flexible with getting work in and whatever. But yeah, I mean, it eventually became like, well, if I can be doing this if I can be doing my work on set, like doing schoolwork on set, it was like it just makes more sense.
Yeah,
and I'm hardly at regular school anyway. Like I don't really know anybody there. They don't really know me. It's like let's just get a head start on college.
Yeah,
honestly. Get that done, and then. Then whatever.
You and Bridget, both.
yeah,
doing college.
Yeah, I'm not really using my degree. I got a degree in philosophy.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sort of sounded like the script that you wrote was a little bit in that world.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think my degree in philosophy. I always say it's like a degree in education. Oh, not education. Communication.
Yeah.
And it's
a lot of applications.
A perfect time to mess up a word. It's like, I'm saying I have a degree in communication, but really, they drill into you over and over and over. When you say this, what do you mean? When you say this, what do you mean? You have to sort of define your terms and all this stuff, and so it makes like drafting emails, very easy for me. That's basically what it is. It's communicating very pristinely, very clearly. Which is honestly, it'll save you a lot of headache, I think. So I do get to use it, I guess. I'm not writing philosophy textbooks, but I do draft emails. So
I love that.
Okay. Well, but it also helps. Hold on, before you get there, it also helps with acting, I would imagine, because when you're saying this, what does it mean? That whole thing, that can help you convey emotions that come up in a script and like understanding the script better. So
absolutely,
I imagine that probably helped a lot with acting.
Yeah, and writing also. Figuring out what's the best way to communicate this idea. Through the words on the page. I think it's very valuable.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, one small pivot. This is going to be a deep cut, but I've been waiting to bring this up.
I'm interested.
So, when I was in 4th grade. My teacher had us read, or it was like class reading time. She would read them and we would follow along in the book. All 3 Shiloh
I was going to say, it's got to be Shiloh, right?
Yeah. All 3 Shiloh books. And we watched all 3 movies.
Oh, wow.
And
You were watching movies in school?
Yeah,
sometimes.
Oh my God. I think it was educational, I guess. I don't know. And, and I remember when that 3rd movie came up, seeing you, and I was in like 4th grade, and I was like, that's Jason Dolley, and he's in the Shiloh movie.
Well, how did you know it was me at the time?
Well, I think
chronologically here, I'm confused.
It must have been after.
I guess it was. Yeah.
I guess when I was in 4th grade. I think it was like 2008.
Oh,
so then it must have been like the Disney Channel stuff had already started. And then we were watching, because when was that movie?
It was before
any of that.
Read and Weep.
Okay.
I shot it before Read and Weep.
Wow.
So it was before that was Read and Weep was my way into Disney Channel. So it was way before.
And I remember it so vividly because I remember that the kid in the first 2 movies was different, and then when it was the 3rd movie, I was like, wait, I know that person. And it's just like it's one of just those memories like from my childhood, from school, that like sticks out to me. And the boy and his dog. I don't know if I super remember the plot.
Okay, wait.
I sure don't.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I do have a question about that logistically.
Okay.
Because obviously it would have been a real dog, right?
It was a real dog.
Yeah, real dog.
How is it trained to do, like how long does it take to film things with like an animal that has to do things?
The 2 rules of show business is don't do a film with a dog and don't work with kids.
Yes.
Although actually working with kids sometimes is nice because they have shorter hours. And I've done both.
You work with a literal baby.
A literal child.
Yeah. And I actually had great experiences with both of those things. Like the animals were great. The baby Charlie was incredible.
How old was she when you started?
9 months.
No way.
Something that. Yeah.
And then by the end she was what, like 5, 4?
Probably about 5, maybe 6. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I remember bringing her out for the first time. She was like in swaddling cloths. Like her mom handed her, off, and she's this tiny little thing. But the dogs. I mean, it's all piecemeal. You do one thing, a little thing at a time, and the dogs, they know what they're doing, man. They're professionals.
Wow.
Yeah,
professional.
It's the hardest thing about working with a dog is just not petting them constantly. But when you know that they're like doing their thing and they're working, you're like, I don't want to. You don't want to get in the way. You don't want to but all you want to do is go and scratch them behind the ear and say, and dogs and their trainers, man. It's amazing.
On the off time, the dog's just like.
Yeah, right.
Back when I worked on Jurassic Park.
It's funny though because we shot
Lassie.
We shot Saving Shiloh in Eureka, Missouri.
Okay.
Which is not too far from St. Louis.
Yeah.
So I go back to St. Louis. My fiance is from St. Louis, and so she remembers watching. They would show that movie in class, because it was shot nearby. So she's like, I remember watching this movie. I remember watching you. So another person who's was just in school, and just suddenly my face was there.
We'll have something to relate to when we meet.
Yeah.
What else?
I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to promote, plug? I mean, this has been such a pleasure.
The Twitch thing, we kind of covered.
Yeah.
That. We covered the chess. We covered the short film, which was lovely to talk about again, and hashed out the Disney stuff. I mean, I think we
really
all the
did it all
I can think of
in 50 minutes. I mean, we did it all.
How efficient of us.
Yeah.
Good luck, Charlie. Cory in the House. Minutemen. Hot Shake Pete. The Good Luck Charlie Christmas movie.
Yep.
And Radiant and Weep. All streaming on Disney Plus. How amazing is that?
They are. I don't think Cory is though.
No.
Cory's not. I don't think so.
That's really upsetting to me.
You just broke his heart.
That's really upsetting.
Which has always been
to me.
strange to me. Like, wait, it's in their catalog.
Yeah, it's just there's no extra royalties for that.
No idea.
Did you have Dwayne The Rock Johnson on Cory in the House?
Yes.
I remember that. How was he?
He was cool. Yeah, he was only there for like an hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I remember there was like
doing other stuff, I guess. But
there was like a random.
He had a movie with the
crossover.
Tooth Fairy to film.
Yeah.
Well, and Madison Pettis.
Right.
Madison Pettis. But I remember there was like a crossover that was like he was on 3 or 4 different shows at like, and they did a special week of all episodes with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and he did like it was like Sweet Life on Deck. You guys.
Yeah.
Maybe Wizards was happening at the same time, or one of the others.
Yeah, probably because Wizards was wrapping up when Good Luck Charlie was about to start.
Yeah, okay.
So that might line up timing.
Yeah, so I just remember that. I was like random memory, but
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for
Thanks
being
for having me. I'm glad this worked out.
this is so fun.
Yeah, this was fun. You'll have to come to one of our game nights.
I would
now
love
that we
game
know
night.
that
Yes.
you're a board gamer.
Yes.
And make sure you check out the short film on which YouTube channel was it?
It's on Chandler Riggs' YouTube page.
Okay.
Chandler Riggs'
of all
YouTube
people.
page.
But it's called The Unicorn That Never Lies. And then I stream on Twitch, Jason Dolley, and that's
amazing.
That's my stuff.
Great. And you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Let's Talk About That Pod.
Yeah, or if you have an inquiry, send it to letstalkaboutthatpod@gmail.com.
There you go. So thank you, Jason Dolley, and we'll see you next week on Let's Talk About That.